Well, hello everyone, sports fans, baseball fans, this is Cal Baker TV here. So, it is time for my predictions and preview for the St. Louis Cardinals 2025 season, as the 2025 season will begin this Thursday at home at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals will open up against the Minnesota Twins in interleague play. So, and yeah, and well, obviously looking forward to this season as uh, it was a very quiet off season for the Cardinals. We did not make really any changes at all. We have pretty much the exact same, almost the exact same uh, roster as the last year, minus a few players that are not on the team anymore. Most notably, Paul Goldschmidt, who the veteran first baseman is now with the New York Yankees. So this is the first time the Cardinals will not have Paul Goldschmidt on the opening day roster since 2018. And yeah, the Cardinals last year finished at 500, but missed out on the playoffs for a second straight year. After the year before that, in 2023, we had a losing season for the first time in a long time, and we're in last place in the division. But last year we finished, I think, 80 and 82, and we're like exactly at 500 and ahead of the Chicago Cubs and for second place in the Central Division behind the division winning Milwaukee Brewers. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting season. I was a bit disappointed that the Cardinals did not make, you know, any major moves in the offseason. Uh, as well, the one move that I think most people thought was going to happen was star third baseman Nolan Arenado being traded, as he requested a trade, was almost traded to the Astros actually, but he decided to reject the trade, so he is still with the Cardinals currently. But who knows if he'll even be with the Cardinals by the trade deadline in July. So, but yeah, so the Cardinals really no changes at all this offseason. Uh, yeah, we have pretty much the exact same roster from last year minus Paul Goldschmidt. Uh, and basically almost the exact same pitching rotation, as getting the start on opening day Thursday will be Sonny Gray. It will be his second season as a Cardinal. Uh, and Sonny Gray last year in his first season in St. Louis was outstanding. Uh, in 28 starts, went 13-9 and struck out 203 strikeouts to be exact. He was outstanding. He was top 10 in the league in strikeouts. Uh, yeah, he was great. Uh, Averaged 11 strikeouts per nine. So he had an outstanding season. Really, I think should have been an all-star, but surprisingly, at least I think, was not an all-star. And yeah, we're facing his former team that actually just 2 years ago, he was runner-up in Cy Young voting for the Twins. And the opening day starter for the Twins will be right-hander Pablo Lopez, who this will be his third year with Minnesota. His first year, 23, had a 200 strikeout season. And he was just short of 200 last year, 198. His ERA over 4. He's been a very consistent pitcher. This Twins team last year just missed out on the playoffs. They actually had a huge collapse in September. If that didn't happen, they likely would have been in the playoffs. Uh, they likely would have knocked out the rival Detroit Tigers out of the playoffs if they would have not had that collapse in the final month of the season. So, yeah, they finished the season last year also at 82 and 80. So both these teams last year had similar seasons. Uh, they both just missed out on the playoffs. Uh, and yeah, it's a solid lineup for both teams. The Twins also they didn't really make many major changes in the offseason either. Uh, they most notably have shortstop Carlos Correa, who's one of the best shortstops in baseball, one of the highest paid players also, as well as veteran outfielder Byron Buxton, former number one overall pick, who, when healthy, and that isn't very often unfortunately, when healthy can be one of the best players in baseball, but he always seems to get injured. I think last year was only the second time he played more than 100 games in a season. So, and yeah, Cardinals led by manager Oliver Marmol. This will be his fourth season in St. Louis, and who knows what will happen. Depending on how we do this season, if he will be in St. Louis for much longer. And yeah, I think some people were surprised that Marmol actually did not get fired over the offseason. But yeah, so he's still here. And yeah, so the Cardinals will have, well, most notably now at first base, moving from catcher to first base, will be Wills Contreras. That's right. This will be Contreras' third year in St. Louis. Of course, replaced Yadier Molina as the everyday catcher, and now will be moving to first base. And that means Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pajes will share catching duties from here on out. Of course, Contreras last year had a solid season, but had a couple of major injuries, a broken arm, which cost him like 6 weeks, and then a season-ending thumb injury. But when he wasn't injured, he was a very good player offensively. So, but yeah, so now we'll be moving to first base, replacing Paul Goldschmidt. So that could also be the reason why he's moving from catcher to first. And yeah, so we still have Arenado at third. We have Mason Wynn, the stud shortstop, who had an outstanding rookie season last year. I think should have been top 10 in Rookie of the Year voting. Did not get any votes, I don't think. So, yeah, he had an outstanding season last year. Second baseman, probably Brendan Donovan is potentially also young. Rookie from last year, Thomas Sajaci, not sure. And then the outfield, we have Lars Nootbaar, who, when healthy, can be a very good player. Alec Burleson, who outfield and like DH. We have Victor Scott II, who had a very good spring and will make the opening day roster, I'm pretty sure. And young outfielder Jordan Walker, who has spent most season last year in the minors, but still hoping to break out in the major leagues. So yeah, this is a young lineup that I think could surprise some people and potentially compete for a playoff spot. So the National League is wide open, has a lot of very, very good teams. Obviously, the Dodgers get the New York Mets, who signed Juan Soto. You have the Atlanta Braves, the Phillies. All those teams, National League is loaded. And yeah. So, and we open up the season, like I said, at home against the Minnesota Twins, and what's interesting is our first three opponents are American League teams. It'll be 3 against Minnesota at home, and then 3 against the Los Angeles Angels next week, the second week, and then our first road series of the year will be on the road against the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. So, interesting opening up the season with 3 straight American League teams. Don't know if I've ever seen that before. So, of course, the newer schedule having every team play each other. So, I believe he won't face the Cubs for the first time until June. We'll face in-state rival Kansas City Royals in the middle of May. We close out the season at Wrigley Field, actually. And then we'll face the Dodgers for the first time in early June, the defending world champs. The Yankees come to town, I believe, in August. So, yeah, I have some uh, exciting teams coming through St. Louis. So, um, but yeah, second looking forward to this season. Uh, yeah, just excited that baseball is about to be back. The season will technically the regular season has started. The Cubs and Dodgers opened up the regular season last week in Tokyo, Japan. Those counted for the regular season, but the rest of the teams will open up on Thursday. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. Uh, Cardinals don't have pitchers Lance Lynn anymore. I believe he actually signed a deal to donate to the rival Chicago Cubs. Not sure yet if that's official or not. Uh, we don't have Matt Carpenter anymore, at least not currently. He's a free agent, but wouldn't be surprised if he retires. So we have Sonny Gray as the Cardinals ace, and then Miles Michaelis. Uh, we have Steven Matz, Eric Fetty, a trade deadline pitcher we got last year. Uh, Michaelis, I already mentioned him. And right-hander Andre Plante, who in the starts he made last year was very good. And also have so we have Plante as well as young pitchers Matthew Liberatore and Michael McGreevy possibly sharing duties as the fifth starter. Who McGreevy in the few starts he had last year as a rookie was very solid, including going 8 innings in the final game of the regular season. So, and in the bullpen we have, well, a new pitcher that we acquired, or we signed actually just like a couple weeks ago, veteran Phil Maton. So he's bounced around, been a journeyman, has had a pretty solid career. And you have left-hander Jojo Romero basically being the setup man for closer Ryan Helsey, who led baseball in saves last year, the reigning reliever of the year in the National League. So, yeah, it's some young players on the Cardinals in the lineup, and then some, veteran starters and veteran pitchers as veteran starters and young pitchers as well. So, should be a fun season, hopefully. So, till Thursday against the Minnesota Twins, the home opener, opening day. Always look forward to that. So, till then, Count Spicker saying for the first time this season, go Cards.